Hi everybody, welcome to my Facebook Live. Thank you for joining me tonight. It's a Tuesday night, we're just getting into the week. I hope everyone's going to have a great week. Tonight we're going to make 3 autumn fall cards, which I think are really pretty, so it should be a lot of fun. If you're jumping on Facebook, say hello to me in the comments so I can see that you're here. Okay, so my name is Laura Roderick. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in San Antonio, Texas. Let's do some housekeeping first. I want to let y'all know that if you place an order with me this week for $35 or more, I will send you the make and takes from tonight. And I'll show you what those look like in just a minute. I send you all the cardstock, the ribbon, the embellishments, everything you need to make the card except for the stamps. We're not allowed to pre-stamp anything with Stampin' Up, so you would have to purchase the stamps on your own. But I would send you the kit to make these 3 cards. If you upped your order to $50, you would get a free item from the Sale-A-Bration Catalog. Let me turn my camera down right away so I can show you what's in the Sale-A-Bration Catalog. So I'm going to just turn my camera. Flip it. Okay. So this is the Sale-A-Bration Catalog, and it's got all kinds of really neat items. We're going to be using this bedazzling specialty paper in some of our cards tonight. This is free with a $50 purchase. We used this penguin paper last week. That's free with a $50 purchase. There's stamp sets, other papers in here. I really love this deer paper, this Christmas paper. The Sale-A-Bration Catalog goes through September 30th, so we only have a couple more weeks to get something free out of this catalog. So that's a lot of fun. This is the make and take. This is how the make and take kits come. So everything's already in the envelopes for each card with your little ribbon and embellishments. And that will come to you. If you would like to order, here's the link to go to the order. And you can always email me and I can send you the link directly. So my email is sunshineandsparklestamping@gmail.com. Order by Saturday at midnight, and then I will send those to you for free. When you place the order, you have to use this host code. So if you email me, I'll send you the host code too. Okay, so also I just want to say, if you share this Facebook video with anybody, I will enter you into a drawing to win a prize. So last week I had a couple people share, and I put the names in the drawing, and the winner was Deborah, and she won these fabulous iridescent snowflakes from Stampin' Up, so I'll be sending those to Deborah. This week, if you share the video on social media, I'll enter you into a drawing to win these champagne rhinestones. These are really, really pretty rhinestones. Nice fall colors, a champagne color. We're going to use these a lot tonight in the projects. Okay, so let's get started and make some cards. Let me just give you a little sneak peek of what we're doing tonight. We've got this really nice fall pumpkin card here, another autumn card with some leaves, and then this really fun squirrel card. So let's start with the first card. Just set this up so I can keep an eye on it. Okay, so the products I'm using for this first card are quite a few. It's the Pretty Pumpkins kit, and we're going to use this big stamp with the fall leaves on the pumpkin. And we're also going to use some of these sentiments tonight in our cards. This die set is really fun, and this is what we're going to use to cut the wreath. So this is a really nice set because it has a whole bunch of different wreath outlines. So we're going to use this fall leaf one, and these little leaves we're going to cut out as well. It also has a Christmas one. It has a star one that basically you could use for anything, but it has some little Halloween, like a little bat, a little pumpkin that goes with it. So you can make a lot of different things with that. And then this is also a die cut kit. This is called Detailed Pumpkin Dies. Cuts a really pretty pumpkin, but it also cuts out the pumpkin that we're going to stamp tonight. This embossing folder we're going to use, and we're going to make a nice brick background. And we'll see how that looks. I think it's going to look great. This is the bedazzling paper I was just talking to you about, and this is free with a $50 purchase, and this is how it comes. Just like that. Okay, So for the first card, and I'm just looking to see if y'all can see okay. Let me move this a little bit different so we can see. Okay, so this is a pretty easy card to make. I'm just going to move these pieces over. So we're going to start. I love this Cajun Craze cardstock. It is such a gorgeous fall color. It's just really, really pretty. So we're going to use this tonight. This is, I just took an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock and just cut it in half. So this is 8.5 by 4 1/4. No, 8.5, hold on. 8.5 by 5 1/2, okay. And then I scored the 8.5 at 4 1/4, so it's going to make a 5.5 by 4 1/4 card base. Okay. The next layer is, we're using pumpkin pie cardstock, and this is 5 1/4 by 4 inches, so just a 1/4 inch smaller. And we're just going to attach this with some Stampin' Seal right to our card base. So y'all can see that. Okay, next I took, and I would have already done this for you, I took a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock, and this is 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and I ran it through the embossing folder to get this nice brick background. So we're going to put this on our card as well. And we'll just stick that on, center it, and that's great. Then our card base is ready. Okay, so the next thing I want to put onto the card is going to be the wreath, and I've already die cut this, and I used early espresso paper, and it's really pretty. I just want to make sure I get all these little pieces punched out. Okay, so we're going to glue this to our sheet. And what I like to use for this, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. You could put the little sticker paper on the back and then cut it out so it just peels off like a sticker. What I like to do is I like to just take my little silicone mat, and I'm just going to put glue on the back. Now you could use the Tombow glue, and you could either sponge this on. This is by Stampin' Up, they sell this. I'm real messy with glue. We'll use that a little bit later. But what I really like to use is one that I got from Amazon. And it's a Zig 2-way glue. It goes on blue. It dries clear. And then it's easy to brush on. And if I get excess on my silicone mat, that's fine, because as soon as it dries, it'll just rub right off. Just kind of roll right off the mat. So I'm just putting some glue on this, and then I'm just going to center it on my card. I want some of my leaves kind of at the top, like right about like this. I'm going to put it on the top half of my card and just press it down for a minute till it sets. Okay, the next piece I want to put on is our sentiment. And so I have this cut out of, I think it's the Tasteful Labels dies, which I use a lot. Tasteful Labels dies. It has a whole bunch of different die shapes in it, and they're great for sentiments. So I'm going to take the Early Espresso ink, and I am going to stamp So Thankful for You on it. Just put that right in the center. Perfect. Okay. Let that dry for a second, and then we're just going to glue that on. Just take my seal. Sometimes I have trouble with my seal. Okay. I think it's user error. So I'm just going to kind of set this right about here on my card. And then the last big element we're going to put on is the pumpkin. So I have a little square piece of pumpkin pie cardstock. And I'm going to take my Versamark ink and use that stamp that has the little leaves already on it. I'm going to stamp it with the Versamark. This is super sticky. It's almost like glue. So I'm just going to stamp it right in the middle of my cardstock. And I don't know if you can see that. It just kind of makes it a little bit darker. Next, I'm going to take some gold embossing powder. And I'm just going to sprinkle that on. Kind of shake it off a little bit. And that's ready. Then I'm going to take my heat embossing tool, and we're just going to heat this up. And like magic, it's going to turn into a gorgeous gold, shiny color. You can see it's starting to turn a little bit. I love heat embossing. It's just so beautiful. It just takes the stamping kind of to the next level. Okay, that's hot. Burning my fingers a little bit. Just want to make sure it's completely embossed in all the areas. Okay. You can see this up close, how really pretty that is. It's just gold and shiny and beautiful. So next we're going to want to cut this out. So I'm going to take my mini emboss and die cutting machine, and let me get my die out. So I'm just going to set this down here, put my pumpkin die over it, and make sure I have it centered. Now, this little machine doesn't have a magnetic mat, so I'm going to use a little Post-it tape just to hold it in place while I send it through the machine to make sure that it doesn't move. Okay, put my other plate on, and I will just send this on through. And that has cut that out really nicely. That's perfect. This. Okay, so I think I'm gonna pop this up so it sticks up a little bit. So I'm gonna take some dimensionals and just put them on the back of my pumpkin. And we'll just kind of put this in the corner. Okay. Now we're ready to embellish with our little leaves and stuff. And I've put all these, so I've die cut the little leaf ones in the colors that we're already using. So the Cajun Craze, the pumpkin pie. This is old olive cardstock that we used for this. And also that little bedazzling paper that we used. So I'm going to take my Tombow glue and just put little dots on and just start putting the leaves on here. Just flip them over here. So I'm just going to put a dot. Okay, hold on, let me get this started. Here we go. Whoopsie. Okay, we don't want that much on there. Let me get a little scrap and take that off. Okay. I'm just going to glue that there. Add another leaf here. And we'll just keep adding leaves all the way around. I'm wondering if the leaves are starting to turn in Chicago yet. Our leaves here don't start turning, and we don't have that many. They don't really start turning until maybe December. So, and we don't have that many trees that turn either. So I feel like, I don't know, it's not a real fall like we had in Chicago. And fall is always my favorite season. Pressing this down a little bit so it stays in place. Just going to hold that in place for a minute. have this part finished. Put this up a little to make sure y'all can see it in the picture. And some of the leaves and the wreath are already die cut out, these pretty little brown leaves. For a second. I'm going to tuck that one under a little bit. A couple more right here. Okay. That's the leaves for the wreath. Press that down for a second. I think that looks really pretty. Okay, so I cut out this bigger leaf as well, this kind of pumpkin leaf, and I'm just going to put that on with a dimensional so it sticks up a little bit. And we'll put that right about here. And then I had one little leaf that I didn't use on the wreath left over, so I'm just going to put that one right on top of this one. Just add another little layer. Now we can put our final embellishments on. So in the card that I did originally, I had a really pretty gold ribbon, which is currently on back order. So I'm substituting with a different gold ribbon, which is also very pretty and shimmery. So I'm just going to tie a bow with this ribbon. Okay, cut this off. I'm going to use a glue dot to attach that. Put that right there. And then I'm going to add some rhinestones, and these are the champagne rhinestones I was talking about. So let me just pull some of these out. Up. Just set them on. Now these rhinestones are adhesive backed, so they will just stick once you put them down. They're really nice and really pretty. They just add a little bit of sparkle to your card. Okay, and that's it. That's our first card. We are all finished with that. Okay, let's move on to the next card. Move these out of the way. So the next card we're going to do is make this is almost like a Thanksgiving card. I think it's a fall card, and it says Gather Together, and it has some leaves on it. So let me pull out the kit for that card. What we're going to use for this one is this gorgeous leaves stamp set. And then we also have some cutting dies for that, which we're going to use a couple of these leaves. 1, 2, 3 of these leaves we're going to use to cut out. And then I also have this lovely bark embossing folder that just embosses a nice bark image onto the paper. So we'll get started with that. Let me pull out my card kit from this. Okay. So we're going to start with the same size and the same color card base, which is the Cajun Crave 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So that's our card base. This one we're going to have open this way. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of very vanilla cardstock, and I think this is 5 1/4 by 1 3/4, and we're going to stamp some leaves on it. I love this leaf stamp; it's so pretty, and we're going to use Cajun Craze ink to stamp the leaves on. Get a little scrap paper to put underneath because I'm going to probably be a little messy and stamp off a little bit. Here is that really pretty leaf stamp. So I'm just going to start stamping around different different places, different directions. One more there, and I think that looks pretty good. All right. Okay. So we can start putting some things down on our card now. I'm going to start. So I have this piece of early espresso that I've already run through my cut and die, my embossing folder in the cut and die machine. So we're just going to attach this at the bottom of our card. And we'll leave a border, kind of try and make it even all the way around. Then what we just stamped, we're going to attach at the top. Trying to leave the same border, and this is going to overlap our brown just a little bit. Okay, that looks good. So the next layer is we're using that bedazzling paper again, which is really pretty, and that's just going to be kind of our border between the two pieces. I love things that sparkle. Okay, good. So now we're going to start layering in the middle. And again, I have a piece of Cajun Craze cardstock. And we'll put that right in the middle. Now this is another interesting paper that Stampin' Up! Has right now. And this is cork paper. And it's really soft, and it's paper, but it's real cork too. I don't know how they got it that thin in that, but it's really pretty. So we'll put that on next. Okay. All right, we're just about ready to start layering our leaves. I want to stamp our sentiment. So again, from that same label set, I've taken another one of these and cut out on the Very Vanilla, and this is Tasteful Labels, guys. So we'll stamp the sentiment in Cajun Craze as well. Keep everything in the same color family, and this one we're just going to stamp Gather Together. All right, now I'm ready to start layering up my leaves. I'm going to put this first one down like this, and I think for this one I'm just going to put a little seal on the back of it. Get my little mat out again, and let's see if we can just hit it with some seal a little bit. And I'm going to put that one right across here. I'm probably going to just have my leaves, just bend them up a little bit. They stick a little bit up off the paper. Then I'm going to do my next leaf, which is, this is an old olive, and we'll kind of put this one right over here. Kind of curl that one up a little bit too. And then I cut the little leaf out of the bedazzled paper. So we're going to put that one right in the middle. Just like that. Okay. All right, next let's put our sentiment on, and we'll pop that up with dimensionals. Where's the one I was just using? Okay, we'll just put that kind of down here. Looks good. And then this one needs a bow. We're going to use that same pretty gold ribbon. Okay. And we'll use a glue dot to attach that. I think my roll of glue dots is backwards, because usually the glue dots are on the outside, I think. I don't know, mine are on the inside. And we'll put a bow right there, kind of where the leaves meet. And then we're going to use some more of those champagne rhinestones. I'll take some big ones, one here, one there, there, the big one over here. The glue on my rhinestone. Okay, I think that's it. That's our fall leaf card. We're all finished with that one. Okay, we have one more card to make. Let me put these aside and we'll make our last card. This card I think is a really fun card. It's a little nuts about you squirrel card, and I pretty much cased this, which means copy and share with everyone, right out of the catalog, the Stampin' Up catalog. It's a little bit different, but not too much. So to me, this is really fall. We've got the pretty fall leaves and a couple of squirrels. I love squirrels. Some people, I don't know, some people love squirrels or they hate squirrels, right? I love squirrels. We don't have too many squirrels here, at least not in my yard. I know in Palos, in Chicago, I had tons of squirrels. They were in the yard. I would feed them nuts at Christmas. But I don't know. I don't see squirrels. I certainly don't have any squirrels in my yard here. Okay, so what we're going to use for this card, we're going to use the Tasteful Labels dies again. This time we're just going to use this little banner die. The Stitch So Sweetly dies, these are one of my favorites because they have the nice rectangles that are stitched and scalloped and some other label dies with it. I keep this one out all the time because I use it constantly. We're going to use some DSP, Designer Series paper from Stampin' Up. And this set is from Beauty of the Earth. It's the Designer Series paper by them. And there's all kinds of pretty patterns, trees, fall, different things, just gorgeous prints. The back, you can see there's some wood grain on the back of these, some evergreen tree, kind of watercolory prints on the back. Really pretty paper. The nice thing too about Stampin' Up is all the DSP, they tell you right on the package and in the catalog what colors are going to coordinate, what colors are actually in the DSP. And these are the colors we're using today, the Cajun Craze, we're using Early Espresso, Old Olive. Those are some that we've already used. So that's the paper we're going to use. And then lastly, this is our Nuts About Squirrels stamp set. And we're going to use that. So let me get out the card kit. Okay. All right. Same thing. Can you tell I love this Cajun Craze paper because we're doing a third card with the same paper, which I love. So again, 8.5, 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. This one we're going to have oriented this way. So I have the Designer Series paper, and I have cut this to 5 1/4 by 4, and we're just going to put this down. I think I want it to face that way. So we're going to attach this here. Okay. Next, we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to start by stamping a branch going across, and that's in the Nuts About Squirrel set. So I'm just going to pull that out. And let's see, is this one? This one looks perfect. And I'm going to stamp that in Early Espresso. And this is from the Stitch So Sweetly dies. I just have this rectangle here. And this is just your basic white cardstock. So I'm just going to maybe put right about here a little branch for our squirrel to sit on. Okay. Next, we're going to stamp some leaves on here. And it's nice, we have these little leaf stamps in that same Nuts About Squirrel set and inside the veining as well. So we're going to do one in each color, the same colors we've been using. So the Cajun Craze, we'll just stamp a little leaf down here. Whoops. See if I can And the next will be in the pumpkin pie. Let me just clean my stamp off in between. Okay. We'll do pumpkin pie next. Pretty little orange leaf. Right there. And then we're going to do an old olive leaf as well. Okay, good. Now we'll do the middle of the leaves. Look, I got green ink all over myself. Very messy. Okay, so we'll use the early espresso to do the middle of the leaves. Okay, just like that. Okay, as long as I have the early espresso out too, I need to, I'm looking for, here it is. This was cut out in Bumblebee, and that's a little die we talked about before. And I'm gonna stamp the Nuts About You stamp in early espresso right on that. And I think that's just a cute little sentiment to send as a card. Nuts About You. Okay. All right, next are the squirrels. And these are a little bit harder to stamp for me. So I'm actually going to pull out my Stamparatus to do this because it's a two-step stamp. And my eyes are not what they used to be. And I have trouble lining things up. So I've got my Stamparatus. And what I'm going to do is I have just a scrap of paper that I'm going to put on. And hold this in place. Now, I'm going to take my squirrels, and I'm going to do the outside of the squirrels first. I have the two squirrels here, and I'm going to put them on a stamp block. So, I think I need something a little bit bigger. Oh, no, I don't need it because I'm putting on my Stamparatus. Okay, so I'm just going to lay them how I'm going to want them to go. And that looks pretty good. And I'm going to set this over and press it down and be able to pick up. Now, this will be fine because it's going to be lined up fine. It's going to be in the corner every time. So even if it comes up a little, that's okay. Now I'm going to ink these up, and I'm going to do these in black. So I'm going to use Memento ink. And I'm going to ink these little guys up. Sure I'm not missing any spots. And the nice thing with the Stamparatus is if you do miss a spot, you can go back and stamp it a second time. So I'm just going to press that down. Okay, and those stamped perfectly. So what I'm going to do next is take my chamois and clean these off so I can get them back off and put the next set of stamps on. Okay, so I can peel these up, get these out of the way, make sure this is nice and clean, and I'm going to get out the next set. So this is the part that I need the Stamparatus for, because the next set I need to line up and make sure that they're in the right place. So this one goes with this guy, and I'm going to line up his feet and his little ears. Okay, and I think I like where he is for that. And then this one. And it doesn't stamp the whole tail, it just stamps like part of it. It's kind of artsy, it's really pretty. So again, I want to make sure his feet, his little bitty feet and ears are lined up. And it's not going to be exact anyway, because that's kind of the way it's designed to not be exact. Okay, then I'm going to pick those stamps up. And again, this will be fine because it's just going exactly in the corner. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp these. So the colors I'm going to use are, I'm going to do the top one in cinnamon cider. Make sure I get the whole thing inked up. And then the next one I'm going to stamp in soft suede. Okay. All right, fingers crossed. Press this down. That's it. They came out pretty good. Okay, I'm going to pull that out and put this away. Great, and let me close up my ink pads. Okay, so I think those little guys look really cute. Now we want to do the acorn a little bit. So I think maybe I'll use the cinnamon cider for the bottom of the acorn. And there's a little stamp. Now I could have put this on the Stamparatus as well, but I just have it on a block. I think I can see well enough to kind of get close on this one. So I'm just going to stamp this right here. Okay. And the top of the acorn, I think there's a stamp for that too. Yeah, there is. But what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to take my early espresso Stampin' Write marker, and I'm just going to kind of color the top in, and I'm going to kind of do it messy and leave some little white spots so it kind of looks textured. So I'm just going to color that in a little bit with the brown. Okay. That's it. Our squirrels are ready. So this stamp set doesn't have a punch. It doesn't have any dice, so we have to fussy cut our squirrels out. So we're just going to take our scissors and just go all the way around the edge of our squirrels and leaving a little bit of a white edge. And just go all the way around. Doesn't have to be perfect. And mine won't be because my eyesight, I don't know. Let me just get rid of some of this. So, like I said, I used to love the squirrels in the yard in Payless, and I used to love the way they would come up to the patio door and just tease the dogs, because the dogs couldn't get to them. They knew they were behind the glass, and they would just come and tease the dogs. And we had a big tree outside our bedroom window, and you could see their little house, their little hole where they all lived inside. And I'd always bring them a big bowl of nuts at Christmas and put it outside their tree there. But I was always worried because I could never find unsalted nuts. So I thought, oh my goodness, am I going to give the squirrels hypertension because these salted nuts, they're probably not used to salted nuts. I even have a squirrel ornament on my Christmas tree. That's how much I love squirrels. Okay, just got the feet left. And then this little guy is going to be all cut out and ready to go. Okay, that one's ready. All right, I pre-cut the other little guy, so you don't have to watch me cut him out too. And we're ready to start putting the rest of our card together. So I'm going to start by popping up this part right here. And we'll center that right in the middle. Like that, and we're going to pop our little squirrel friends up as well. Just looking at my Facebook on my iPad for a second to see if I could see any comments, but I'm not seeing it come up live. So we'll just set him on this branch right here. Now, if you don't like fussy cutting and you didn't want a fussy cut, you could have just made this bigger with just a rectangle piece of Very Vanilla and then just stamped right on top so you don't have to cut the squirrel out. Okay, and we're going to put his little friend at the bottom. Right about there, and then we'll pop up our nuts about you. That right about there. And then lastly, we're going to add some more rhinestones. And that up there. Okay, that is our Nuts About Squirrels card. All right, I hope you liked the cards we made today. Thank you for joining me. Let me tell you about a couple other things really quickly. The paper pumpkin kits are coming out. You have till the 10th of October to order this one. And this one is like a sparkly snowflake, kind of a Christmassy, I think. It's going to be a really pretty paper pumpkin when that one comes out. And you can subscribe to that. Go to paperpumpkin.com if you want to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin. And lastly, let me give you a little sneak peek of the projects for next week. Next week I want to do some Halloween cards. So I've got some really cute Halloween cards to do, some sparkly cards, and then a really cute treat box, which is a little tombstone treat box. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. Hopefully I'll be back next Tuesday at 7 to make some more cards. Any questions, give me a shout at email, sunshineandsparklestamping@gmail.com. All right, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.